Hello and welcome to your favorite ICT program on radio, Digital Space, here on your Inspiration Dial. Today on the show, we're taking a look at a technology that has changed our world. 16 years ago, precisely in 1998, Larry Page came up with a fantastic idea. A website where you can get answers to most of your questions. It was known as Google and is still known as Google. And since the introduction of that marvelous idea, the world has never been the same again. Every month, over 30 billion people go on Google looking for information. Where were all these questions directed before Google? If you're born before 1998, that means you were born BG, before Google, and therefore you're a digital immigrant. But if you're born AG, after Google, we'll call you a digital native. You have an advantage over others. Today on the show, we have Google representative right here in the studio with us. They'll be doing justice to that. But before then, I have my colleagues in the studio. Dikachim, welcome to the show today.
Thank you very much.
And then we have the runaway soldier, BJ.
Well, thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming around. And then we go on a quick break. And when we come back, we introduce you to our guest in the studio who will be doing us a whole lot of good. Just don't miss this episode. It promises to be fun. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Suleiman, open the gate and make for work. Suleiman!
Yes, Jonah.
Suleiman, that is it. You are fired.
What is it?
Don't look at your body. Where did you get? Oh, so you be stealing?
Okay. What am I gonna steal? But I make money from the internet.
You are making money from the internet.
How?
Who says you can make that extra income? Learn how to leverage on the internet from Nigerians who already do regularly at the Digital Space Internet Income Forum, 30th October at Terraculture, Victoria Island, and 2nd November at Sheraton Hotel, Ikeja, Lagos. It's simple. It's true. More details on digitalspaceradio.com. Supported by Google Nigeria, Etisalat, Smile Communications Nigeria Limited. Powered by Terry Brooks Media.
All right, welcome back. It's Digital Space on your Inspiration Dial. Today on the show, we're talking about Google. We have the partnership lead, Sub-Saharan Africa for YouTube, in the house with us. Her name is Teju Ajani. Teju, you're welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us. We're very excited to be here.
Right, then we also have Taiwo Kola Ogunlade here. Is a Communications and Public Affairs Manager, Anglophone West Africa for Google. You're welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. It's good to be here.
All right, then, let me start by asking, what is Google?
That seems to be one question everyone asks, because you have a company that started out with search, does videos, now has driverless cars, launching balloons and those sort of things. Google Glass. So how do we at Google define Google? We say that Google is two things. First of all, we're a knowledge company.
Okay.
We do believe that with knowledge, the world will change. When people have a lot more knowledge, when they know a lot more things, they have a lot more options, and they can choose more. And we can change the world with knowledge, which is why our tools like YouTube or Google Search or Google Trends, those are tools that help people find stuff.
Okay.
And those are tools that give people options. So if a man living in Agege knows that he can ask a question that can now be answered by people who live in the US or people who live in South Africa. So it just gives a lot more options, and we do think that will change the world. So that's the first thing. Okay. The second thing is that Google is a technology company. When people have asked questions, people want to change the world. The only way, or one of the ways that we think, is with technology.
Absolutely.
You can't change. I mean, think about a world where blind people are able to move unassisted. And I'm talking about cars, right? You don't need a person to drive you. You don't need to wait for your brother to come in to drive you. Or sometimes, and this happens a lot in Nigeria, you go for a meeting and you're almost arriving late and you have to look for parking, right? If you have driverless cars can park themselves. You just get out and you just go for your meeting.
Will that work in Lagos, Nigeria?
We are at that level where things are changing.
Okay.
You look at and you look back in the last 5 years, Nigeria has changed. The world has changed a great deal.
Absolutely, I agree with
and we don't know, and we do think, you must have heard about the law that says the more people use technology, it accelerates change. Absolutely. And we do think that technology will change the world, and the more people ask questions, the more people find solutions. The next thing is for technology to change the world.
The more we use technology, change is accelerated. And I know Lagos will change because we're using technology.
I know
Nigeria will change because we're using technology. Now, Teju, What is YouTube?
So YouTube basically is a content platform. It's a video serving platform, obviously, but people also use it very well for audio. And essentially, it's a platform that offers you global distribution of your content or global access to content from different parts of the world. So if you, as a user, like you said, you went to look for content or for information on YouTube, and what a lot of people don't realize is that YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world.
Wow. Second only to Google. Absolutely.
So that is it's a fact. It's a little known fact, but it gives you an idea of, again, the breadth of information that's on there and what you experienced.
Okay.
Now there are different levers you can have to sort out, what kind of content you are looking for, or what kind of content you want to create, and we can talk more about that later.
It's all right. Then Google Nigeria. The first time I got to know that we have Google Nigeria was when I met Taiwo. I was wondering, so we have Google in Nigeria? What has Google Nigeria been up to?
So don't worry, we get this a lot. People say, oh, you work at Google? Oh, so you came from the US? No, there's Google in Nigeria.
Okay.
We do have an office in Lagos, and we have over 20 people working in the office.
Wow.
And the office is growing very quickly.
Wow.
Some of the things that we have been up to, our work in Africa and in Nigeria is built on 3 major pillars. The first being access. Except people are able to access the internet, it's just a barrier.
Absolutely.
Nothing you put on there would work. So we have been working with different groups, telcos, different organizations, just to help provide access, provide internet access for people. And that on different levels. 1, to make it stable. 2, to make it cheap and affordable. 3, to make it just at the right quality. Right, so you'd see that we do things like we go to universities and we provide them free internet access.
Wow.
Just because that's the platform of development.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're not able to change universities, so universities like University of Lagos, University of Ibadan, and quite a number of universities are also benefiting from this.
Okay.
And we do this with so many different organizations where we just reach out, and the idea is we want the access to be better. So that's the first thing. The second is relevance, and relevance being when people go online, when they find information online, what they find should be relevant to them. Okay. I do not want to go online looking for banjo, which is a Yoruba name.
You say banjo.
And find banjo, the musical instrument from South America.
Yeah.
Right? Or I'm looking for a restaurant in Lagos, and it shows me a restaurant in San Francisco, right? So and it's a major drive, helping Nigeria and helping Africans put African content online.
Okay.
And making it readily available
and
to
relevant.
everybody. Yeah, and relevant.
Now that brings me to the point where we have Yoruba, we have Hausa, we have Igbo on Google Nigeria.
Yeah.
I want to ask, are these things being prepared from the US, or you guys here are actually providing this content? I ask this because of the translations that we have, the Google Translate, where you actually translate from Mandarin to Igbo, for instance.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I wonder. I've tested it with Yoruba, and I find it almost impeccable. I want to ask, are you the guys doing that stuff for us?
So localization, we call it localization at Google.
Okay.
And the idea is Google has to be localized within. We are a global organization,
Yes.
but we have to localize our offerings to the different countries or different environments that we work in. So if you speak Yoruba and you just want to go online and search in Yoruba, you should be able to do that,
Yes.
right? Because there's Yoruba content online. Just the other day, I was curious about fables and myths about twins in Yoruba language. And you'd be amazed. Some say, I come from monkeys, right? Which is Edunarigi and all that.
Yes.
And you will find it online. So we do have a team working across different countries, and they're the localization team, and their job is to help put together products that help to translate language.
Now, I'll pause you there. You just delved into something that is very dear to my heart. I was in Ife about 10 years ago, and I was privileged to be in the Honest Palace, and I saw some of our heritage, on display. And I said to myself, but for the fact that I've visited that place, there's no way I will have known this information is available. And I was also at Osun Osogbo, and I've visited some of these great sites. I've been to Ekiti, I've seen some of the beautiful things. That's my home state, and I've seen some of the beautiful things there. How is Google helping us? Those of us who are digital natives, who don't have, who, we spend more time online, we don't go to some of these places. How is Google helping to bring these things to us on our tablet, on our laptop, on our phones?
So Google has a couple ways of doing that, right? One is through the Cultural Institute.
Okay.
And the focus of the Cultural Institute is to actually do some of what you just said, which basically is gather the information that's culturally relevant to a place and make it accessible online to a global audience.
Okay.
Now, that information still has to be curated. And unfortunately for us, African culture is quite oral in nature.
Absolutely.
And so digitizing that content is a key challenge for us. Now, Google provides the platforms such as the Cultural Institute, like I said, or a program like the Cultural Institute, and then also YouTube, where when that content is digitized, it can be exposed and shared. But the actual job of going to digitize that information still needs to be done by us.
Okay.
So that's a gap. If anybody's looking for an opportunity, that's one opportunity right
And
there.
that brings us to the essence of this show today.
Well, I mean, but before you even move to the next,
Yes.
And content is key. Content is the future.
Absolutely.
And cultural is just one.
Yeah.
Things as basic as news, right? And someone once said, if you know about your past, you can decide how you move into the future. The news on Nigeria in the past, you're looking for information on Obafemi Awolowo. What did he say when he came out of prison? And you can't find it.
Thank you.
Or just the other day, a friend of mine was asking if anyone ever heard the actual voice of Tafawa Balewa. Do we know what he sounds like? Right, and those are big questions. That's our history, and our work in Nigeria and across Africa is to help different teams, different groups start uploading their local content. Just last year we had a program called Sync, which is share your Nigerian content, which was an event where we had content creators, content curators, content owners from across Nigeria into one space, and we spoke to them about the importance of putting your content online. Of course, quite a number of people do have concerns around piracy, around copyright
And privacy.
But the internet is that platform that does allow you see you can trace if anyone put up your content or if anyone is using your content. The internet does allow that, unlike offline, where if someone picks your content and takes it to Oshodi,
And
you don't know, and you will never know.
It's all right.
I mean, so and that's one. We originally started out with a platform called Get Nigerian Business Online, which is also to help Nigerian businesses
GMB.
go online.
I think I remember that.
And that has morphed into quite other things now. And the premise of GMBO was when people go online to search for businesses. When I go online to search for BlackBerry, one of the results I must get should be how to buy it in Nigeria, and helping businesses register their presence and just generally making the internet relevant. I didn't finish the 3 pillars when we asked. So the last pillar is sustainability, which means that companies like Google cannot continue to support the ecosystem forever. The ecosystem has to be self-sustaining.
Absolutely.
We need developers. We need universities bringing out developers, people bringing out tech geniuses. Because
individuals putting up content.
Exactly, and because except we're able to get there, the ecosystem will not self-sustain. Right? And you just last year we heard about a Ghanaian developed app that sold for about $2 billion.
Yes.
We want to get there in Nigeria. We want young people who would be imaginative, who would be creative, coming up with apps.
In essence, Google Nigeria is ours.
Yeah.
Google Nigeria is our responsibility.
We have to
Google
think
Nigeria is what we have to develop and provide for the rest of the world.
Yes.
And that's the much we can take on today's edition of the show. Next week, Teju and Taiwo will be back and we'll be discussing YouTube. How to create a YouTube channel. Do you really need to pay so much to have your YouTube channel, or it's free? You get to know about that next week. How to monetize your content on YouTube and so many more. You don't want to miss it, so join us same time, same dial. It promises to be interesting and very educating. See you then. Bye-bye.
You too can earn that extra income. Learn how to leverage on the internet from Nigerians who already do regularly at the Digital Space Internet Income Forum, October 30 at Terra Culture Victoria Island and November 2 at Sheraton Hotel Ikeja. It's simple, it's true. More details on digitalspaceradio.com. Supported by Google Nigeria, Etisalat and Smile Nigeria. Powered by Cherry Brooks Media.